and welcome to Q&A a day. Today's question is, should you follow everyone back that follows you on Twitter? This is a really interesting question because I've had this dilemma for a long time now. My view used to be that you should always follow people back that were sort of your customers and your prospects. The people you're trying to reach, if they're following you, and influential people, because if they're interested in what you've got to say, you want to be paying attention to that. If they've got some influence, you can leverage that. So that used to be my opinion. Yes, follow those people back. Build as big an audience, as targeted an audience as you can, because if someone takes time to follow you, it's saying they care about what you have to say, right? When they follow you, they're getting your tweets. And so that's a big deal. I feel like that's a little bit of a commitment in a relationship. So you want to reciprocate that in order to grow that relationship and nurture that relationship and turn it into something more than what it is, more than a social connection, right? As a business, you want to turn it into customers. Now, with that being said, something awful happened over the last few years where Twitter just headed straight into spam city. Like, most people are building their house in spam city and either closing their doors off to everyone, as in not following anyone, or inviting everyone in. They don't hear a single thing, they don't know who's there, because it's just too noisy. It's just too noisy. I hope that makes sense. I maybe just shouldn't have included that bit, but that's how I think of it. I think of it as spam city. And so I recently unfollowed pretty much a good proportion of my audience, a huge proportion of my audience I unfollowed, and I couldn't decide that for maybe 6 or 7 months, maybe even longer. I went back and forward because I never wanted people to think I didn't care about them, or I was trying to look like I was a little bit more influential, which sounds so silly, but people do that. Like, numbers do matter. It is social proof. Like, whether we say we don't pay attention or not, or say numbers don't matter, when you look at someone's Twitter account, you look at that ratio, and it does affect how you perceive that, your initial perception of that person. And so that really bothered me. And I never wanted people to think I didn't care about them if I wasn't following them. But this is why I did that. I was waking up and I was spending so much time, even with Twitter lists, going through and trying to engage people, and they were mostly robots. And when I say robots, I don't mean bots always putting out their tweets, but everything was scheduled. There was no real conversation, and it really became very apparent that that person wasn't on the other end of the screen. They weren't on the other end of the screen, and they weren't ever going to, so because of that, they weren't ever going to have a conversation with me. And I felt like, and I felt this a lot this year, we only have our time. That's our greatest resource. Everything else, secondary. And so you have to think about how you want to spend the minutes of your life and who you want to invest them in. And I didn't want to invest them in people that treated them like counterfeit, right? I didn't want to give all this time engaging to people that were never going to reply because they're not even sitting at their computer desk, or they're not even dialed into Twitter in order to do that. And that's not a judgment on those people, each to their own, but that's taken time. Every minute I spent doing that and trying to be social was taken from a minute from someone who actually was being social, who was engaging, who was wanting to have a conversation. And the other thing as well is there was a huge proportion of people following me just so I would follow them back. Like, that's a thing on Twitter. We all know it's a thing. People follow you to get the follow back. It's the same on Instagram. And honestly, like, if you're following me so that I can be a +1 in your follower account, you have no interest in me. You have no interest in what I have to say. You have no interest in forming a friendship, becoming a client, having any form of relationship. You're doing it because your ego. And those are not the type of people that I want to associate myself with. And they're not the people that belong in my tribe. People belong in my tribe are the people that I want to serve the best way I can. And I know that's talking a lot about me, but it's because this is a decision that ultimately comes down to your perspective on the situation. Because of course, the quickest and easiest way to grow your Twitter following is to play the follow follower game, right? Follow people that will, so they follow you back. Just make sure they're targeted so they're worthwhile follows. I'm not going to sign up to that anymore. I don't like it. I would rather put in a little bit more work and earn each follow one by one with, and I know that the people that do follow me now, they engage with my stuff a lot more because they genuinely, they don't care if I follow them back. All they care about is what the message is that I'm trying to share, and they know, like, because I know the other part of that is saying, well, you don't care enough to follow them back, and it's not that, because once we have a conversation and I know that they're real, I always follow back. But the difference being is that conversation gets to take place now, whereas before it didn't. And so actually, for me, it's worked out a lot better. And the thing is as well, every single person that tweets me gets a reply. I never don't reply. So, I mean, unless it's like one of those spammy comments where it's like, thank you for being my top interactors. No, you're not saying thank you. Your bot is saying thank you because you signed up to a service. So you know what? You're not saying thank you to me. It's automated and I'm not going to reply to that, because that reply is going to take time, and that is time that could be spent on someone who actually did tweet me and wanted to have a conversation. And I know it's a really harsh way of looking at it. I would be very interested to hear your thoughts on this. My thoughts are, follow your prospects and your customer, follow your target audience, follow them. They're the people you want to invest in and take time with. I absolutely, and it's a battle that goes on in my head, and I question it every day, and I have to be really honest about that, because that's the point, for me to give you an honest answer. And it is something I consider every day. Should I be following more people back, and should it, because I want to be a good person and I want to show I care. At the same time, I don't want to sign up to Spam City. And I really want to spend my time and my minutes with the people that deserve them. And the people that deserve them are the people that give me their time and minutes out of their life. Like, I appreciate that so much. It blows my mind that someone would do that. Every single tweet, I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. And so you have to reach your own conclusion with this. Of, should you follow, I mean, you shouldn't follow everyone back, right? You shouldn't follow everyone back. It never works out if you do that. You're just going to put yourself in Spam City. But you have to think about, do I follow my customers and prospects back? Do I follow certain influencers back? What is my policy on this, and what is my belief system on this? I've tried to give you like an overview of the two different points, and I really hope this helps. If you want to discuss more, or you have any follow-up questions, please do feel free to include them in the comments below. I know it's a little bit of a cop-out, but also not really, because I'm telling you that I don't follow everyone back. I follow the people that that have stuck by me. I follow my customers. I follow people, I guess some of my prospects, but I try and earn that relationship without needing to follow them at first as well. And yeah, so I follow my tribe. That's basically the bottom answer. And those are the people I spend most time engaging. I use my home feed. Most people don't, because it's full of spam, but I get to use that because of this policy I've adopted. At the same time, you may want to grow the biggest audience in the world, and there's no denying that following more people and reciprocating that kindness is a great way to do that. So just some thoughts. Let me know what yours are. Never forget, you have the power to change the world, one connection and one conversation at a time. Much love from my heart to yours. Hopefully we speak soon. And hopefully this clicky thing will work sometime soon.